Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Charles Hardcastle here from Joseph Barnes Wines, and today I thought we'd take a brisk trot through the subject that is Pinot Noir. Now I understand that in our allotted 12 minutes or so we're barely going to scratch the surface of such a vast and important subject, but we're going to have a go, and to help us we've got three Pinot Noirs here that we're going to taste from around the wine world. So here we go, Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, so called because of the pine cone shape of the grape bunches, was first planted by the Romans in the 1st century AD and therefore is one of the most ancient of the noble grape varieties. When the barbarians drove the Romans out, custody of the vines in Burgundy fell to the Catholic Church. And by the 6th century, most of Burgundy was divided into church-owned vineyards. Come the Revolution, the French Revolution of course, in the late 18th century, the vineyards were taken back from the Catholic Church and were given to local Burgundian families in a vineyard model which survives to this day. Local, independent, family-run small domains, which, as I say, the model survives to this very day. So a word about Pinot Noir, the grape itself. Well, Pinot Noir is a very difficult, finicky, sensitive grape to grow. It's very sensitive to pests and diseases. It's very sensitive to fluctuations in temperature. It's also genetically unstable. Good old Cabernet Sauvignon has just a handful of genetically individual clones. Pinot Noir has over 1,000, uncounting, which means that the berries can vary greatly in size, in shape, and even in flavour. And even if the Pinot Noir grape is cultivated successfully, this very thin-skinned grape is prone to shrivelling in the cellar, making extraction of colour and flavour from Pinot Noir a challenge in itself. Not for nothing did Andrei Chelychev, the great Californian winemaker, once remark dryly, "God made Cabernet Sauvignon, the devil made Pinot Noir." It's known as the Heartbreak grape. I mean, why go through all this heartbreak? Why go through all the heartache and the hassle to grow this notoriously difficult grape? Well, when it's well made, Pinot Noir is a sensual, seductive, silky wine, packed full of gorgeous red fruit aromas and flavours, aromas of summer red fruits, of cherries, raspberries, that sort of thing. But also they have this, the good Pinot Noirs have this gorgeous earthy notes, truffly aromas and flavours to it, what the French might call sous-bois, forest floor, leafy, earthy sort of thing going on, and this is what makes good Pinot Noirs so ethereal, so soulful, so unforgettable at times. However, if you, like me, can't afford top-notch Burgundian Pinot Noirs, then I have here in front of me three very good examples of Pinot Noir from around the world, from a lot lower down the cost scale. So we're going to taste those now. And the first one we're going to taste is a Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Pinot Noir was first introduced to the Willamette Valley in the late 60s, early 70s by a bunch of renegades, wine renegades basically, who were a bit fed up of the Bordeaux varietals, the slick Bordeaux varietals being turned out by the Napa Valley winemakers, and so decided to plant Pinot Noir in the Willamette Valley. The Willamette Valley, incidentally, is on the same latitude as Burgundy, and it was felt that the climate would suit the Pinot Noir grape well, which it does indeed. This is from an estate called Sokol-Blosser, run by Susan and Bill Sokol-Blosser, founded in 1971. They are fanatically organic. They've won lots of awards for their green approach to winemaking. The wine is called Delinea 300 because the grapes are grown, the vines are grown at exactly 300 feet above sea level. and this is a light, fresh, unoaked Pinot Noir. So I don't know if we're getting this this nice sort of vibrant cherry red, bright cherry red in colour. I don't know if you're picking that up. Very nice, very clean, clear cherry red in colour. On the nose, yeah, well, on the nose we're getting cranberries and raspberries, a bit of bitter cherry, summer red fruits basically. Very good, very nice, again, elegant, clean nose. Very nice. On the palate, well, on the palate, as I say, very light and fresh, quite refreshing, a crisp, a wine light-bodied in texture, great acidity, really nice acidity, and the finish isn't lengthy, but it's with me, and it's we're getting these sort of further summer red fruit flavours. Very nice indeed. Good acidity means a good food wine. What are we going to eat with this? Well, how about fish? How about poached salmon with baby beetroot? That's good. Tuna. I've had tuna with this. Seared tuna with a bit of hoisin sauce. Wild mushroom risotto. How about that? Very nice too. This weighs in at 14%. It costs $15.99, and it's very nice, I have to say. You could probably chill this in the summer, I reckon. Very nice. So we're going to move on now to the next wine. This is a Bourgogne Pinot Noir from an estate called Domaine Remoissonnet, Père et Fils. And Remoissonnet are one of the most venerable of the Beaune domains. The 14th century property is actually situated within the walls of Beaune itself, and there are 2.5 hectares of vines located elsewhere. In 2005, the estate was sold, or the domain was sold, to the American financier Edward Wilstein and Maison Louis Jadot. And they still continue to produce excellent wines which represent really great value for money. This is a Bourgogne Pinot Noir. It's 2007, so it's got a bit of bottle age to it. It's also unoaked like the previous wine. So in colour, it's slightly darker. We've got a sort of nice ruby red here, a nice ruby red thing going on. Very nice indeed. On the nose, well, on the nose, it's much more savoury. There's a lot of earthy, truffly, mushroom, as we said before, sous-bois aromas there, but certainly with a touch of red fruits, cherry. Yeah, cherries and raspberries. There's also a bit of rhubarb there as well. I'm certainly detecting a bit of rhubarb. Very nice. Quite a complex nose. On the palate. Well, on the palate, it's quite dry. It's quite drying, but with great acidity. It's medium-bodied in texture, and again, as I said, it's got very good acidity. The texture is the finish is lingering. It's staying with me. I'm getting quite a bit of bitter cherry flavours. Great acidity, a nicely balanced wine. Yeah, very good. I'm certainly getting a good finish with this one. Quite drying. Good acidity, again, as we say, means good food wine. With this, well, how about coq au vin? That will be good. Sautéed lamb's kidneys with a mustard sauce. Pinot Noir is always very good with game. Roast partridge, perhaps. Pork chops with artichoke hearts. There's quite a selection there for you to choose from. This is 13%, a very reasonable 13% in alcohol. Costs £14.50, and is very nice indeed. I do like that. And yeah, good. A nice wine from a very good estate. Right, finally, we've got a Pinot Noir here from the Marlborough region of New Zealand. It's made by an estate called Clos Henri, and Clos Henri is part of the Domaine Henri Bourgeois Empire, which is situated in a little village called Chavignon, famous for its goat's cheese, Crottin de Chavignon, in the Sancerre region of the Eastern Loire. And in 2000, the Bourgeois family decided to purchase 100 acres of land, as I say, in the Marlborough region of the South Island of New Zealand, and in the year 2000, and they put a lot of money into renovating the vineyards and the cellar. They introduced state-of-the-art winemaking equipment and techniques, and released their first vintage in 2003 to instant acclaim, and they haven't looked back since. They make some superb wines on the estate, Sauvignon Blancs and Pinot Noirs. This particular Pinot Noir is 2008. It is put in oak barrels for 10 months, of which 30% of the oak is new oak. So in this one we're going to expect something slightly more, well, much more substantial actually, much more spicy, much more complex and full-bodied. So let's have a look at the colour here. Yeah, well, we can see from the colour this is darker. This is a nice deep garnet red in colour. A really nice nice colour here. On the nose, well, yeah, on the nose, I mean, again we're picking up the oak, the tannins. But whereas with the other wines we were getting these light summer red berries, with this we're getting a much darker fruits. We're getting cassis, we're getting mocha, we're getting some bitter chocolate, yeah, dark bitter chocolate. So much more complex nose. On the palate, yeah, well, on the palate, I mean, full-bodied, yeah, delicious. Again, we've got this very good acidity, and we have this earthiness, this very good, very nice earthiness, mushroom sous-bois again, sort of thing. Very nice indeed. It's got a very long finish on it. The finish is still with me now, and very good acidity. This is a very well balanced wine. It's what winemakers look for, the balance between oak and fruit and acidity and tannins, and it is a very well balanced wine. It's very well integrated. I should point out though that this actually has been open for most of the day, and it's only now that the tannins are beginning to settle down, smooth out. So a really good wine. This comes in at 14.1% to be precise, and it costs $24.99. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, but I think if you were to want something equivalent in style from Burgundy, I think you may be paying 40 quid, north of 40 quid basically. So I think this is actually quite a good value wine, and it's delicious as well. Food wise, well, something really flavourful here. Snails, I like snails in garlic, anchovy, walnut sauce. Ooh, fantastic, my favourite. Pigeon breasts, sautéed pan-fried pigeon breasts, perhaps with in a honey sauce with some figs. Cheese-wise, well, people ask me which cheese goes well with Pinot Noir. The classic cheese is goat's cheese. Always goes very well, but with this I think a nice chunk of Port Salut cheese would go very well. So they're really nice. I like that very much. It's possibly my favourite from tonight's offering. So so there we go. There's our brief foray into the world of Pinot Noir. I hope you found it interesting and instructive. I hope it's inspired you to go out and buy a bottle of Pinot Noir, not necessarily from Burgundy, perhaps from Oregon or New Zealand. It's time for me to clear up now, and in fact before I do I'm going to have another slurp of the Clos Henri Pinot Noir, and while I do I think we're going to listen to the great, and I mean the great conga player Poncho Sanchez And this is a song called Subway Harry. Cheers.
Lexington.